streaming. Okay, cool. All right, that is live streaming over there, and we should be live streaming everywhere else, and we are recording over here. Yes, I did it. Okay, I'm so excited, guys. I'm actually pretty excited to see everyone here. I've been able to attend, so it's like cool to, get back in the rhythm of this stuff, guys. My apologies. I wasn't able to make a couple weeks ago. I literally, well, I didn't break my back or anything. I had a couple bruised ribs because I fell down a couple steps of my stairs. I was telling Seth my stairs go down into like a landing area, and then it turns left and goes down another 4 steps, but last couple steps, I basically fell back and I must have just totally bruised my back ribs, and it was painful the past yeah well, a
Ah,
week and a half or so, 2 weeks after that. Crazy. But
gee.
yeah, I went to the doctor, and yeah, they don't really do much about it. They just say, well, deal with it. You're gonna have 6 to 8 weeks recovery time. So, but I
Isn't
did get
it?
some painkillers. So, well, guys, great to be back here. So let's do the quick intro. We'll hand it off Seth, get things started here. Today is June 17th, 2025. For anyone in YouTube land, Facebook, new to the Zoom here, we do these coherence meditations every 2 weeks, here on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We restream over to Facebook and YouTube, and we host our live Zoom sessions here. We are uh, more than happy to have you over here on our live Zoom sessions. We would much rather you over here than Facebook and YouTube. But if you are over there, please do like, share, subscribe, give it a comment. As a matter of fact, we actually have topics that we have during our coherence meditation. So if you also have a particular topic you want to explore, add it to the queue. Feel free to comment on the video below, either on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll see that. We'll add it to the queue. As I said, we do host over here on Zoom. So I'm Awake Now. What is our main channel? Just append a /calendar to that. And I think I have one of those here. Yep, transition. So basically, /calendar. You can find the live Zoom link there. Do please, while you're over there, subscribe to the newsletter. Down over here, as we get our coherence meditations going, that is a playlist. Feel free to use that. You can play some frequencies as some background music. And as a matter of fact, I need to charge these and get these going. So, and as I said, we have a topic every coherence meditation, and the topic today is flexing our muscles of perception to free ourselves from our own unconscious self-enslavement. That's a long one. Sometimes it doesn't fit in the description field, so I got to shorten it, but this one fit perfectly. So let's hand it off over to Seth. Man, Seth, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
I
So
know.
awesome to see you again, man.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. I didn't know you got hurt. I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend. And I was gonna say, it's so weird when you go to a hospital and they try to make you feel like they know your body better than you do. It's so clinical. It's so like one-dimensional thinking. It's so bizarre. So anyway, the topic of this tonight is basically, I'm sure everybody here can relate to it and understand. And I was like, you know what? After I wrote this up, I wanted to look a little bit more into where quote unquote mainstream science is, where, with meditation, with perception, consciousness, all of that. And what it seems like now, well, we always used to hear, oh, we only use 10% of our brain. And that was always said for a long time. I remember hearing that when I was a kid, but it's not true. We use all of our brain, but we're only conscious of 5% of it. And so that's what they're saying today. We live and we are conscious of only 5% of the 100%. So if our brain's working at 100%, and we're only conscious for 5%. That means 95% of information is not conscious to us. And they try to put it like, oh, it's impulses, it's all these things. They try to classify it and break it down into limitations. And yeah, it is like that. But at the same time, look at our world. Look at how many people have health issues. I mean, and it's just getting more and more intense. And imagine if we were just like 10% more than five. But the thing is, there's a lot of boundaries when it comes into how do you begin to use more of your perception instead of just 5%? How do you become conscious so that you're 10, 15, 20% of that 100, which would be phenomenal, even if you got the 10%. And that goes back to the very beginning of our lives, where in being 5% aware of consciousness, of the world, of people, everything, we're taught language and we keep ourselves boxed right in it. Meanwhile, we are inside a holy, living temple that is, it is a miracle. I don't know what else to say. It is so super intelligent. And we are that. Each and every one of us is that, but so few know it. So it's like, okay, if some places say that it's way more than 95%, some places say that, depending on the institution, they're like, we're only using 1% of our conscious awareness. But whatever it is, it's a very, very small number. And what keeps us from being conscious? Because again, we're taught language. We form our entire sense of self through language. And that language that we're conscious of, that's only part, it's part of the 5%. It's literally, that's as big as it is. Or if it's 1%, that is how limiting language is. We create our entire sense of self with thinking and feeling and all that, just going on and on and on, and it only makes 1 to 5% of our awareness. So there's a great Nikola Tesla quote. I've seen a lot of people using it. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's essentially like using vibration and frequency to know the nature of reality. And so, what keeps us, or what allows us to know the nature of reality? And I would say vibration, because if 95% of reality is happening in our non consciousness and we're not accessing it, it's because everything we express, that we think, that we feel, and we say it through words, at the same time, we're impressing that information into our body, into our being. And somebody's thinking and feeling the same things over and over. And then they use their holy voice, you could say, to express frustration, stress, all the things that we've been taught to normalize. We're literally projecting that vibration throughout our body. And so, one of the most, I've been doing so much with sound, with vibration, tone, and it's like, it just opens up the dialogue that, for me personally, that I can have with my body, with my being. And so tonight, I want to share that with you guys. And after it's over for tonight, I'm going to encourage everybody to simply hum that, or you can do open vowel O A I. And if you have pain, you have something that is in you that hurts or that's bothering you, or emotional pain, if you tune into that and you hum and you pay attention to the vibration of humming in relation to whatever it is that you're choosing to hum with, you do that? Tell me. Tell me how long those issues keep you down, because it's incredible. I mean, it is. So the idea is vibration is how we begin to access more of the perceptual awareness that is already ours. It's already in us. We're just not aware of it. And so by using vibration, we become a lot more aware of it. But in the meantime, let's clear up all the stuff that's preventing us from being more aware, more conscious, so we can get more energy flowing into our body so that our symptoms cannot have the hold over us that we've allowed it to. With that said, let's get relaxed. Get comfortable. Slow your breathing down. And wherever you are, seat, a bed, just acknowledge that you're safe and that your body is supported so that you can take your awareness and move it into non-verbal places, meaning words don't really go to where you're going to allow yourself to go tonight with us and then on your own. So your body is safe and supported. You have slowed your breathing down. Breathe through your nose if you can. And really slow it down so that it's slower and deeper. And so while you're feeling much more at ease, more calm, give yourself a pat on the back energetically. No matter what your life has been like, however great or small, you have made it to where you are. And here we are together right now. And that's significant. Because there's very few people who don't have to experience trials and tribulations. In fact, I don't know anybody who's exempt from that. I'm sure they exist. And this is important because as we were acknowledging, we're in a body that is literally a holy temple for this energy, whether you call it the soul or the spirit or consciousness, whatever name you give to this greater sense of self that you know is there. because it's causing your heart to beat. Whatever you call that, you don't really need to question it because you know it's there. It is allowing this soul, this energy that is really what you are. That energy is evolving within and around this body. And so when you can realize that, and I'm sure everybody here does to whatever degree, but when you're able to zoom out and recognize that there is a super intelligence in you, it's allowing you to exist in your body. It's kind of like the more you become aware of that, the less everything outside of you loses importance. Or because this energy is in you, allowing you to live, it becomes a greater priority. Because through being objective, you recognize the importance of it. And to some degree, even if you don't embody it right now, that energy is working itself out through you. And even the mainstream science model that says 95% of our perception is unconscious. Even if it's true, all of us here right now and who'll watch this on the replay, we all know that something way greater than 5% consciousness awareness is happening. We know it. And without ascribing words or meaning to the things in your life, to your health conditions, at some degree, you recognize that there's a lot more to be aware of. And you know that. And knowing that is invaluable compared to someone that might know that, but they don't think it's important. So they just live in the world, not necessarily ignorance is bliss. Most people just don't know how to tune in to this super intelligence that allows us to be here, animating our bodies, which is so incredibly complex from a physiological or scientific based mind. No matter how much we think we know, at the same time, we know that there's so much more to know, but that what we do know is impotent enough to keep going, to begin to interact with your body in different ways, such as intuition, instinct, and all of that really is the part of you that when you are consciously aware of your body, of your entire being, your emotional body, your energy field, and then all the relationships through all the systems of your body, through all the organs, glands, and fluids, all of that is in relationship to itself. And it is all working itself out, whether we're conscious of it or not. And so if somebody was to take a quote unquote rational exploration of these points, even if we can't use language or words or even understand the complexity of everything that's taking place in our body, we can still acknowledge that it's happening anyway. And by virtue of reasonable thought alone, it's pretty obvious that's something way greater than who we think we are, or to fit into society or civilization. We know there's something way greater happening throughout all of that. And the conundrum is there's enough of us that deep down know that the world around us, the belief systems engaged in creating cities, buildings, grids, it seems like it's so big and that civilization is everywhere. And it is, but it's not from a greater perspective. It's a small world, but it is an infinite universe. And even if we feel like the world wants us to fit in these roles that we've formed identities out of, we know that we are each and all so much greater than any of the self-imposed belief systems that we self-imposed without even knowing it. We're born in the world. Our families have their own knowledge. They believe it's so important to be a part of society. And so, of course, we adopt that and we know and we learn. But at the same time, when you look up in the sky at night, somewhere without any light pollution, you look up at that also by reason alone, it's quite clear that something so much greater is happening. And then when you contrast this infinite awareness that we know is there because we can see it, can experience it. So we know that is, it's liberating to acknowledge that. And then at the same time, it's almost like the same thing is happening within us, but it's a micro expression of the infinite awareness all around us. And by micro, I mean that when we choose to be aware of awareness itself, it becomes pretty easy to acknowledge that whether we are aware or not, that something beyond incredible is happening within us. And just like all of our internal systems are in relationship with each other, it's asking for us to be a part of that relationship consciously. And so, if the universe is infinite, and at the same time, our bodies and their being have something going on that the 5% of us that's conscious can make sense of. Just by acknowledging that it's so much greater than we can even imagine. That opens a portal or a doorway for us to be reacquainted with what we really are, with what is so much greater than all the cities of the world. And so this world, with its chaos and city grids that look like computer chipboards, that's a small world. Yeah, it's all over, we know, but it's a small world compared to what is going on up there and within us right here. And below us, we are on a celestial object that is alive. She is allowing us to be here. And even if you're in a building, in a city, yeah, there's lots of layers, probably infrastructure going into the ground. But she is there. And so when you acknowledge that, no matter where you are, we are being supported by a being that is conscious in ways that we can't understand until we really get in tune and aware of what's happening in us. So again, we've got space everywhere. And we've got this amazing celestial being that's allowing us to be here. And so we've got massive support beneath us, with infinity all around us. And amidst of all of that, there's this little zone that is artificial, that is pumping out artificial junk. And we know, right? All of us, people like us, kindred spirits, we know that's not what matters. And it's amazing though, even though we know that, it can be very triggering. Because we know that we truly are made of star stuff. It is, and we are animated by super intelligence within and around in every direction. And this little tiny layer in between the miracle of life that we are, this holy temple, and the sacred space of space. It is all sacred. And when we look around in civilization and we get triggered or we get sick or we have health issues that come up or we see and witness injustice and things way beyond that, tragic, difficult to comprehend type of stuff. And while all of that stuff is happening, this greater sense of awareness that we might feel detached from is there. What if it's using this little thin artificial layer of what this projection that we're supposed to believe reality is made up of? What if what that is actually a form of communication? What if our health conditions are literally life? This super intelligence that we know we are, what if it's communicating with us, to us? And to the degree that we're able to process internal troubles, trauma, pain, disquietude, the more we're able to look at all these things, not with the words of the conditions we have are supposed to be, the symptoms, the diagnoses. What if none of that matters? Because what does matter is this greater form of communication. And we know that we're not separate from it. We may only be aware of 5% of our awareness, but we are 100% of it at all times. And the more we choose to communicate with what is already communicating to us, the more the layers, baggage, all the things that we've been carrying with us what would it be like to just let it go? And instead of giving all of our attention to everything around us, we can start choosing to give more attention to what's happening within us. And yes, meditation, there's so many different ways. But what is reality at its core? what are we? We are vibratory. We are literally sound in motion from a subatomic level and smaller to our ability to be aware of the infinitude of space, of reality. If that is all sound, frequency, vibration, then it becomes quite clear that vibration is what's really happening. And how do we connect and communicate with a vibratory world that at its smallest to its greatest is sound, vibration. And when we let go of this tiny little thin layer of self-awareness that civilization has taught us is 100% of reality. And most of us bought into that. Our families, our friends, we all know that. But what if none of that really even matters anymore, but only because what truly matters is your relationship to your life on an energy vibrational level. Because we have sensory ability beyond intuition, beyond instinct, beyond rational thought. I mean, those are just the beginnings of how we are able to install and activate greater sensory awareness that's actually already in us. It's just been dormant. And with health conditions, what if the pain or the worry is actually this super intelligence communicating to us in ways that we're not used to because of the world around us? It didn't teach us that. But it doesn't matter because we are that. We are 100%, no matter how much we are conscious of it or not. We are all of that. And the things or blocks or things that are in our way of knowing that, it's just an illusion. It is literally a projected belief system that has been normalized in a world and its cities that we know are not in harmony with reality, with what we really are. And so, by simply acknowledging that your heartbeat is literally creating sound, and that sound is vibrating and connecting with every other system, organ, fluid, gland in your body. And when you become aware of that by identifying with it as vibrational energy, sound, simply by feeling your heartbeat and listening to it. And the more you listen to that, the more all of these unactivated abilities start becoming activated. Because if life is so intelligent that it knows how to create us to keep all of these complexities within us working, if it can do all that, then it can also guide us back to why we're here, what we are here for. And it's interesting because, yes, it is sound and the heartbeat. Obviously, we can hear that. But most of what we're talking about around us is inaudible. We don't hear it the way we hear other things. And that's because we feel it. And that ability to feel deeper and deeper into this journey of sound that your heart will take you through. And at some point, the more you're listening to that, you realize that your very voice is likely the most powerful way to raise your vibration, to augment your ability to be a part of this communication process that's happening within all of us. And so instead of just creating a literal, miraculous, sacred tone and then investing it into language, if we just realize a little bit, oh, yeah, we did do that. We did take our voice and put it directly into language, but we didn't know that at the time. But now we're all in a really unique position to recognize that raising our vibration can happen so much quicker when we create vibration. And so when we take that sound that we've put into language without even realizing it, and we choose to put that sound, reverberate it throughout all the parts of your body, from the smallest to the greatest of all that you are. And you take your voice in harmony with your heartbeat. That's an incredible way to begin communicating at a much deeper level than most of us have been taught. So you're relaxed, you're breathing, you're more aware of the energy that you truly are. You recognize that there is an auditory symphony happening, but we don't necessarily hear it because it needs more internal activation, and that can be felt. Doesn't even need to be audible. Before we come out of this, well, we will always be in it no matter what. It's just to the degree that we want to be conscious of it. But before we come out of it, I want to encourage everybody, like I said at the beginning, to hum or do an open mouth vowel, whatever you want. Because there's another interesting reality, and it's surprising, but at the same time, it's not. And that is how many people don't like the sound of their voice. If you ask around, you'll be astonished for those who are honest about it. So many people don't like the sound of their voice. And a big part of that is because we were never taught what it is and what can be done with it. We just took it and installed it into something that we inherited that is already encoded with different ways of trapping us within ourselves. And we just think it's normal. So do our friends and family. And who knows how long this has been going on. And if you feel like you don't like the sound of your voice. Let yourself be aware of that. And notice if by your using your voice to hum or vibrate or tone, sustain vowels, whatever you want to call it, notice what it feels like to use your voice as an instrument, as a healing modality, but without words, without what we think these things are. Create vibration through your voice and do your best to feel it vibrating anywhere and everywhere in your body. And just do it whenever you can, whenever you feel up to it. Or maybe you don't feel up to it because you're struggling. Try using your voice with what your perceived struggles are. So before we come out of this, your homework assignment is to use your voice, listen to it, feel it, and let the feeling of it override all of that old programming of words, of language, of belief that we have unconsciously consented to giving our vocal power to it. But now we're trying something different. We're using our voice as a vibrational tool to reverberate throughout all the rooms of the temples of our bodies. And lastly, really make a consistent effort of enjoying the feelings of the vibration that your voice creates. Remember that part of it. Because what you put into it will keep guiding you. What you put into it will come out of it, something that will guide you further and further into the remembrance and knowing of the 100% consciousness that we all actually are. So allow your breathing to just be normal. Keep it deeper and rub your hands together. Get them nice and hot. And then put the palms of your hands over your eyes and see if you sense anything. And it's okay if you don't, because everything is always everything anyway. Thank you, everybody, for coming here. Greg, thank you for helping out as you always do.
Want to learn the secrets of the universe, energy, frequency, and vibration. So, there is one common theme that I see that I'm looking through the titles and like, I remember our humming going back about 2 months ago. I think we were like, well, go out and sing, right? You know,
Yeah.
project your voice, you're humming, you're blah blah blah, Man, my back, I was gonna buy these tuning forks, because back in the day, even doctors, they used to, ding and put it close to the bone to see if you have a break in the bone.
Mhm.
I was gonna get those,
Yeah.
but you know,
No, it is. I mean,
but
we're tuning rods. Like our bodies
mhm.
are. Yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah. So, but these titles, I mean, it's always bringing us back to, I mean, in my opinion, back to like our roots, our title, freedom, you know, we were free as can be when we came into this realm, and now, so, we're kind of like, attached to all these different things, these contracts and statutes and everything else. But anyway, that's another rabbit hole.
Well, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, it truly is a journey, you
Yeah.
know? If there's a goal, but we lose track of the journey, it's never balanced. And so that journey is where the medicine is. And that's why I was saying when you feel the vibration of your voice, especially do it low. Yeah, when you make a low voice, a sound, a vibration coming out of you, you can feel the vibration more.
Hmm. How about throat singing? When you throat sing, how is that actually? Is that just a deeper form, pretty much, right? That's my
Takes a
interpretation.
while to do. It's actually really easy, but it requires doing it slowly.
Yeah,
'Cause if you do it too fast, it'll hurt your throat, you know. But yeah, it's really just you just start slow like that. You keep doing it, and then it starts to come out more and more.
right on.
And
Yeah.
the whistling thing, that's a whole other thing. We'll get into that another time.
Yep, you bet. Well, awesome. Yeah, I was pretty deep in a couple times throughout this session. So awesome.
Yeah.
It's yeah, calming. It's a calming feeling. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for attending this week's coherence meditation. We have our next one 2 weeks from now on number one, July 1st.
Yeah.
So keep in mind who is number one, you guys.
Yes.
All right, guys. We love y'all. Have a great one. See you next.